Hello, welcome to today's Facebook LinkedIn Live. I'm delighted because I'm going to be chatting with Rebecca Newenham today, who is the founder of Get Ahead. If people are logging on, do let us know if you can hear us all okay. But we're going to be talking more about Get Ahead today and why it's a brilliant opportunity for those that have recruitment experience, and also how they are reinventing the recruitment industry as well, and how they're making waves in the local economy, in their local economies, supporting local businesses. Thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining us today. It's always a pleasure.
Lovely to be here, Liz. Thank you.
Yeah. So people are logging on and they've never heard Get Ahead before. Do you want to give people a bit of an overview as to who you are, what you do, and who you support?
Yes. So Get Ahead is my baby. So I set Get Ahead up back in 2010. So I was like probably a number of you listening to this today in that classic, what do I do next? I'd had a career break. My youngest daughter was starting school. And then it's like, right, what am I going to do? And I'd always had that burning passion to do something for myself. My mum was self-employed, my brother and I were younger. And yes, she's always inspired me. So Get Ahead was born. I tried and tested it in my local area. So I'm in Guildford in Surrey, so not a million miles from you, Liz. Mm-hmm. And networking was my route to market. And I remember when I was at school being petrified of having to stand up in front of people and do presentations. But it's so amazing when it's your thing you're talking about, not something that is out of your control. You're so much more natural and engaged with that. So I absolutely still love 13 years on, the power of networking. So networking helped me find my ideal clients. And as you've rightly said, it's the local business owners that we target to offer them support from anything from telephone answering, providing them with a virtual assistant, right through to PR and marketing. And I know, Liz, we've spoken about this before, but since lockdown, what we do is no longer questioned, because prior to that, I'd have to say, oh yes, your team member, will be doing the work, but they won't be sitting in the next door desk to you. Well, now it's absolutely pride, and people love it because it's so efficient and effective.
So you basically are providing a virtual outsource team, aren't you, to businesses that are growing? And what is it? Anything? And I mean, as a local business,
classically, we're supporting business owners who are running their own business, or slightly larger businesses that want specific support, and we match those clients to our pool of ever increasing, we call them now virtual experts. So when we launched, it was a virtual assistant, but now we describe ourselves as an agency, because we really are providing that right resource for a growing business as and when they want it. And the breadth of support that we offer is very unusual. So when my franchisees go networking, they find the client, they really understand, and that's where the resourcing recruitment piece comes into play, because they work with the client, understand what the client's support that they need, and often it's possibly slightly different to what they think they need. And that's the skill of our sort of franchisee as a resourcer, to really nail what that client needs. And then we have an all singing, all dancing skills database that houses all the details about our virtual experts. So we're currently tracking it around 80 virtual experts in the UK. And so the franchisee pops in the information, and out comes the ideal matches from within our team. Because you can imagine, Liz, when I first started, I knew all the different virtual experts. And when we launched as a franchise 6 years ago, again, I knew who they were. But because we've grown and we're continually adding new people, the skills database has come into its own in terms of enabling the franchisees to tap into that amazing resourcing tool. So they match the team member with the client, they crack on and make a huge difference in that client's life, and my franchisee moves on to the next one. And I think that's
how long are the assignments? So if you say, I've spoken to you before as a client as well, so I know you've got everything from finance people, tech, marketing, like you said, BA, but anything a small business would need. So if I was a client, I met one of your franchisees at a networking event, and I decided I needed some marketing support. How long are those assignments? Do those assignments typically?
Yeah, so they really vary, but they are often fairly permanent. And I think that's the beauty of it. So they'll often start with a set number of hours. And as that relationship develops and as the client sees the benefit, that's when that team member becomes integral to that client's team. And I think for the client, they never sort of feel that virtual expertise is temporary. They see them very much as being invested in supporting that client. And that's what we love when we see those hours ramping up. And of course, sometimes it may be that they get to be doing so many that we've proved to a client that actually they need to employ somebody. But ultimately, that relationship is a fairly permanent one. But equally, we can also provide short-term project support as well. So maybe a website overview and then a new website, for example.
Yeah.
For the admin side, telephone answering, social media, we're generally in it for the long haul, which is wonderful. It's wonderful for the client and it's wonderful for the virtual expert, and it's fab for my franchisees.
Yeah, Maria says she loves this divorce. It's very happy. Thank you for watching. So the question I have then is about, because a lot of the as somebody that has set up a recruitment business myself, and I wish I'd known about you before I started my recruitment business, because I remember thinking I would love a business like yours that's sort of set up as a franchise, because I've spent more than your franchise costs to set up my business. And obviously we could talk a bit more about that, but I think what frightens recruiters about setting up on their own is, and I'll be honest, it's like the invoicing, particularly like we say when you're so a lot of people will go in, I've spoken to some people that have gone into recruitment and they'll do it like permanent because it's a bit easy with the invoicing, because it's really hard to pay temp staff if you don't have a lot of money in the account, if you're in your bank account. So how do you work the billings then? Are you just basically invoicing who's paying the pool and
so my franchisees buy a territory. So if we look at somebody like Fiona, my longest standing franchisee in Leeds, she bought a postcoded area, she goes networking, finds the client. She had to have an element of cash in the business. So you're talking probably £1,500, £2,000 at the beginning in order.
Not a huge amount, not much you would.
Well, not when you think about, okay, I'm setting up on my own, I've got to do my website, I've got to do my branding, all of that. So obviously there is an £8,000 entry point, which we'll talk about later, but from an everyday starting point, you just need to have a little bit of cash flow in the business. But we have 7 days payment terms with our clients, and I would actually say a majority pay before the 7 days. So a franchisee will invoice the clients, they own that client relationship, and our virtual experts invoice the individual franchisees at the end of each month. So it works for everybody. The virtual expert knows they're going to be paid on time. The franchisee has that element of sort of cash flow within the business. So it works both ways. But I know we've spoken a lot, Liz, haven't we, about when you set up something on your own, there are so many elements that you have to get involved with, whether it's web presence, how do I market myself, even down to what you're going to call yourself. So all those elements.
It takes a long time to get selling actually and making money, because you've got to do all that before.
Yes, and I think that's. And when I've done lives with you in the past, we've covered that bit about franchise, and I know for some people that they find it a sort of a rather strange word. They might have heard it misrepresented. We are an ethical franchise. We're part of the British Franchise Association. You don't get that rubber stamp unless you're doing everything you need to be doing to give that support to your franchisees, and that's certainly why I went into it and why I've got a professional qualification in it, because it's so important that everyone feels supported and they're getting the value that they need.
Yeah, I love this. I guess as you place more people in your invoice value will go up month on month.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And that, for somebody running their own business, that's a wonderful opportunity for scaling, isn't it? Because if you were doing the client work as well as everything else, then there's always be a cut-off point. There'd always be a limit. While with this opportunity, we describe it as totally scalable. So Fiona leads, she goes networking, she finds clients, she places them with members of the team. That process just keeps on going.
And I guess if those people are there for a year or so, she's got that recurring income every month, and that's a lovely place to start. I tell you, as a business owner, to know you've got that recurring income, it's
vital, isn't it? And then you get the energy and you can talk about the clients you're working with. And often we find, because we're not just admin or not just marketing, clients maybe use more than one of our team as well. So they build that connection with the franchisee, they get a sense of, you know, real confidence working together, and then they'll say, oh, actually, I'm loving working with so-and-so doing my admin. I now got a confidence, I need to revisit my website. Have you got someone that can do that? So that's the beauty. And my franchisees are really proud of that they can stand up and say, you know, we can offer such a wide range of support rather than saying, oh, sorry, no, it's like we only do this.
Yeah.
And I had an example of my lovely new franchisee, Lisa, who launched with us last month in Bournemouth. She needed some Amazon marketing support, so we did a sort of a shout out for that. So we've never really been asked for that before. Found the perfect person, and we're now onboarding him, and he's now been added to our sort of mega menu. So yeah, it's exciting. I love it, and things are always changing, aren't they? You know,
I mean, well, next year you'll be looking for ChatGPT experts and something else.
The whole new social media platform.
Yeah, threads.
What else to add to our list?
Okay, so the franchisee, they finding their clients predominantly through networking. They doing business development. How else do they?
So when I launch a franchisee, we have a 2-day sort of jam-packed induction, which talks about everything about, you know, who are your ideal clients, where are they hanging out, how do you find them, how do you present yourself at networking. If somebody wants a little bit of training on public speaking, you know, I bring that in. So it's always a bespoke 2-day induction, depending on their background. So, you know, I would imagine if I look at, you know, a number of my team, marketing franchisees have a confidence online, but perhaps they haven't done very much public speaking. You know, it all works like that. So we have a 2-day induction, photographs, because that's really important to me. You know, our branding, being an ex-retail buyer, branding is vital for me. And I exhibited in Nottingham with one of my team last week, and we had so many compliments. Oh, I love your stand. I love the way you show up. And that's lovely to hear, because that's really important for me. So the team have all their business cards, all their branding, and they're ready to roll, you know, literally from day one once they've had their induction, which, again, like you've always said, Liz, starting on your own from scratch takes thinking a long time.
What do we want to happen on day 3?
No, exactly.
Yeah, okay. And then they going out networking, I'm guessing they can also pick up the phone and follow up leads.
No, absolutely. Whatever they like to do. And networking, as I've said, it plays a vital role in this. And I always say, you know, go to the opening of a crisp packet when you first start out. So looking at Lisa, who's just launched, she's been to I don't know how many networking groups. She's now realised the one she'd like to join. We've signed up for an exhibition in Dorset in October, which is really exciting. And as I said, I was in Nottingham last week. Exhibitions play a vital part. And like you said at the very beginning, this is all around providing local support to local business owners. And it's that lovely feeling that you're investing in your local area.
And you're part of that community, aren't you? A massive part.
And networking for me has been amazing. I've met so many different people, random people, and then you use them for other things. And I run a LinkedIn local networking group now, which I love. And LinkedIn has been a huge driver in terms of promoting what we do. And for some people, they might not be very comfortable on LinkedIn, but I know you are a LinkedIn guru, Liz, you know, and you and Georgia, you know, are all over it. But it's, you know, we can give training on things like that, but you're immediately into a system that works and is guaranteed to sort of start driving your local presence, which is key.
Yeah. Okay, so they're finding the clients, they're responsible, I guess, for that, but I know that you'll obviously get leads as well onto the
absolutely. I've just launched my beautiful new website.
Yes, head office website, you know what I mean.
So we have our All Singing or Dancing core website, and then within that we've got all the different location pages, and we've invested a lot in SEO in the last 6 months, which is proving to be really beneficial in terms of really honing in on that territory that you've got.
Yeah.
With that page, my team can have whatever they want on there. They can put videos on and everything. And then we will give them training on social media. We also have social media managers that they can tap into as well, which again is, we all know that sometimes social media can be a bit overwhelming for people, but because we're living and doing it, we've got that sort of quick way to get to market.
Okay, and then who finds people for the pool?
So my resourcing team find people for the pool.
So the franchisees don't.
They can do, and I love it when they do find people. And as we all know, when you're out networking, you find all sorts of freelancers. So what we say is the franchisee doesn't have to take responsibility for that. When I first set the franchise up, I had a vision of it being regional, but then we realized actually we want to empower freelancers to have a wide variety of work. So actually by opening them up to the whole of the franchise makes, you know, perfect sense then. But the resourcing bit can be time consuming as well, which is why we have
I know,
HR resource. You know more than I do. So Suzanne and Lucy within my team do the interviewing. We don't take everyone, and I would stress that as well. It's not like I'm saying, any virtual expert come and join us. We're strict in our requirements. People need to have been freelancing for a couple of years so that they can really add value from day one. So
but that's good, because then the franchise, I always get confused whether it's franchisee, franchisor. Which one I mean. The person that owns the franchise then has faith.
Absolute faith, and we're constantly getting feedback. We have a virtual expert of the month, so we open that up to all the franchisees to sort of vote on who's delivered a really great job for us, because the virtual experts, I want them to be part of a living, breathing, continually evolving community. And we have lunch and learns, we get together. So I'm meeting this week some of my local team face to face, and that's really important, because I think we all sort of virtual works, it's great, that's what the business has been built on, but it doesn't, the face to face connection piece is really vital.
Yeah. Good. Okay, so let's talk about the investment then, and how much it costs to invest.
So £8,000 for a 5-year license, and judging by the cost of a takeaway coffee these days, that's about the price of a coffee a day if you strip it out. And like we said earlier, the value that you get for that, if you were to strip it out, and I'll often sort of describe that, and if you were doing your own website, your own marketing, branding, it all, as you know more than most, Liz, it all adds up, doesn't it?
It's more than £8,000. Yes. People think it is
more than £8,000. So what we take that as an upfront cost, but there are all sorts of startup loans and various ways of actually delivering that. And then it's 10% of turnover every month comes into head office, which is totally sort of standard practice. But in return for that, I'm continually around. We have a monthly call with all the franchisees on, and that's hosted by my marketing consultant, Brooke. Brooke does a monthly themed marketing plan, because again, I've always been totally aware that not everyone wants or likes the idea of marketing. So we have a theme. So this month it's going to be on well-being and supporting personal trainers, beauticians. We're giving blogs and things around that. So that really gives our franchisees a starting point. And I'm always aware as well, I want them to create their own personal business. So I'm not sort of sitting there saying, why are you doing that way? I want somebody to feel the freedom and connection with it being their own business, but knowing that they've got those fundamentals there. We give them ideas for what they might want to put out on their various social media channels, but they don't have to do it. But how lovely to get all that fresh content. And I think that's vital as well. So 2 or 3 blogs a month, an infographic. As I said, branding is hugely important to me. So give that on a
very distinct brand.
I like that. We did used to get calls EasyJet, and we were laughing because when we used to exhibit, we'd have our black dresses on and orange scarves, but people noticed us, and they still do now. But I'm all about the branding.
So let's talk about invoicing, because this is something that's come up for me, because last time I was saying I didn't have an invoice get paid. Yes. And so what happens like in that, in that situation? And if someone...
Yes, so we will always support the franchisees, and we've had a handful probably in the last 5 or 6 years where a client has been slow to pay or won't pay. So we work very closely with the team, and I never expect them to carry on paying their percentage to me if they haven't been paid by their clients. And we have access to a number of credit controllers as well, but I have to say it's very few and far between. We encourage the use of go cardless and direct debit payments and things as well. I think that's a huge that's a huge example of you're not doing it alone, and we're very much a sort of non-competitive place. So I can't bear WhatsApp groups. We have got 2, but they're not hugely overly used. But often in there, we might say, "Oh, has anyone got advice for this?" And that feeling of actually somebody saying, "Oh, this has worked really well for me. Why don't you try this?" For example, makes such a difference, because I think when you're starting on your own, you can't help but look around and see what everyone else is doing. So actually, by being part of something that gives you that stability and security is vital.
And then T&Cs, because that's another thing, isn't it? People, do you have a template? People just take the template?
Loads and loads of templates. So that's all provided as part of the induction. So different forms of contracts for clients. As I said, all the freelancers are covered off by us anyway, so they haven't got to worry about that. But no, absolutely, NDA examples of a one-off project or a sort of continual contract.
Got the risk of the client taking the candidate direct without telling you, and then you've got the contract.
Exactly, all those little bits. And as I mentioned earlier, in probably a handful of cases where a virtual expert has done significant numbers of hours and proven to that client that actually they need to employ them, then we have a fee based in that contract.
Yeah, like a temp to firm type fee.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So all those things.
You know you're covered, really. You know that you're protected, and you've got a bigger company behind you.
Yeah, no, exactly. Which is vital.
Yeah, absolutely vital. As I'm learning. Yeah, I mean, I think it sounds fantastic. Like I said, I wish I'd known about you when I got made redundant, because I think what you do is great. I think it's a really good opportunity. I mean, we've you know, I think at its heart, it is a recruitment business. You help businesses find staff. But do you need recruitment experience for this? I know we've talked about.
No, it's not vital, but I know it's something we've sort of highlighted in the last month or so, that actually this fits perfectly with the resources and skill set. So that ability to match people together, to project manage, but not want or feel the need to get involved in absolutely everything, because that's certainly not what I'm wanting. I'm wanting someone that is naturally interested, curious, good listener, will unpick what a client needs, match them, enjoy that matchmaking, make sure everything's all right, and then sort of have a confidence to let the client and the virtual expert crack on together, but always have that ability to sort of keep a little eye on what's going on, but then be ready for the next thing. And I think that's the beauty of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's a lovely position to be in, that sense of project management, because you get the best of both worlds. Then you're not tied to your desk having to do client delivery. You're picking and choosing, and that's a big thing as well. You know, I built this up because I wanted to work part-time school hours, and that's what I've always done. And I've never worked in the evenings. It doesn't fit for me, but I also get that some people much prefer doing bits and pieces in the evening. So Tiz, you're totally free to manage this as you wish. You just need to be responsive to emails and make that commitment of networking and marketing what you're doing. And of course, you know, you're paying upfront for this. You're then paying on a monthly basis. This is something that will grow and scale at your own pace. It's not going to deliver thousands of pounds on day one, but you can be signing.
Well, no, but I can imagine by year 4, if you've got enough freelancers that are working there out and about in all your clients, it will be paying.
And word of mouth is huge, isn't it? And that thing that you said, that local community. So you want to be interested in supporting local and getting out there and really making a difference. Like I said, Lisa's been amazing in just the last month. The number of meetings she's gone to, the people she's meeting, those connections. And I always laugh and say I'm nosy, but I really am curious, to be a more professional way of saying it, and that's what you want to be. You want to see if there are opportunities for people, and just naturally want to connect other people together as well. And that's what comes from running this in your local community.
Absolutely. I guess it would suit as well, like you said, project managers, marketeers. I mean, even someone, I guess, that's worked in a big retail space that's been responsible for staffing.
Oh, no, and that's Fiona in Leeds was ex-retail. She was ex-Morrison's.
Yeah.
And I think it's someone that's ready for their next stage of their career. And I think we all go through different stages, don't we, of what we're doing. And if you're somebody that's worked in a corporate environment and now think, actually, I've got more to give, I want something for myself. So you have entrepreneurial spirit, but you don't want to have to recreate the wheel from scratch. And you want to be part of a fun, engaging community, which I believe. So,
5 years, you get the license. 5 years. What happens if you want to carry on at the end of year 5?
Yes,
or you don't want to carry on, what happens?
Well, so 5 years is up. You simply renew. There are no additional costs. It's just extending the.
Oh, do you not have to pay again though?
No. You don't pay again. And if it doesn't work out, as I say, life happens, doesn't it? So we would work together at either selling the territory or seeing if someone can take it over and you have someone to manage it. So I'm a total realist. I know things happen out of our control sometimes, but
you would get, even if you decided not to carry on, you would get something back. I mean, obviously, hopefully you made money anyway, but you'd get something back as well out of that initial.
Assuming you can resell it on, and it's like anything, isn't it? It's what's important to you at the time. But I would say that in terms of the opportunity, there's such an opportunity for growth. But equally, like I said, we're all real, and life happens, people relocate, all sorts of things. So
I think it's a really good opportunity, because I also think people are so much more, like we spoke COVID, business owners are so much more open now to employing freelancers and freelancers that work from home, and therefore your agency is just perfectly positioned.
The client only has to have one conversation, don't they? Have one conversation with the franchisee and everything gets sorted, rather than going online and trying to navigate that space and think, well, are they any good? Have they got references? You know, it's that confidence is what we give.
Yeah. Actually, you reference the pool then, I guess, don't you?
Yes, we reference the pool. Always getting constant feedback from clients and sort of checking in. So, and again, with the virtual experts, you know, if you are somebody that's thinking, actually, I've got this skill set, I'd like to be part of something, that's always, you know, always open to new people joining us that way.
Yeah.
And I self-published a book as well. So if there's anyone on this call or watching the recording that wants to know a little bit more, I'm more than happy to pop a copy of that in the post, because I know that's certainly helped a couple of my franchisees make that final decision by reading the book and seeing it coming alive.
So just before we before we end the course, you mentioned that you've always done it in school hours. So just talk me through what a typical day looks like. I know we talked about
so, or even if I look like a sort of a typical week, you'd be planning your networking meetings in there. You'd be perhaps dropping the kids off at school, then coming back. And I think that's the ultimate thing. You have control over what you're doing, because you're controlling your diary. You're controlling which meetings you want to go to. I remember I couldn't bear, you know, when my kids were much younger, I wouldn't be doing a breakfast networking meeting, or I might perhaps once a month when I get some cover for the girls. But ultimately, I would choose where I went. And so much of it is online, like LinkedIn and things anyway. So an exhibition, we support an exhibition. So I would say, you know, you look at your diary, you plan in an exhibition to go to, a local one. You might have one-to-ones, which again is really important, because that's where your interest in people comes from. And I think you can go networking, but the last thing I ever want any of my team doing is sort of looking desperado for work. So it's actually about building connections within that networking, because you never know who might know someone that needs your help. So it's sort of investing your time like that, which is really vital. And actually, when you're launching something, I've always found it amazing. It's often your own friendship group that go, oh, so when I launched the business unit back in 2010, one of my mummy friends introduced me to my first ever client. It's a friend of theirs. So, you know, it's powerful. Your own network already is really powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. And like I said, there's so many people as well that have set up businesses in COVID, like, you know, me included, that they're not going to be like, you know, at this point, they're probably not big enough to have full-time staff, but they, at that point where they need support, they can get freelance. I think you're in a great position. It's a great time. So where can people, if they want to learn more about Get Ahead, maybe even joining the pool, but particularly becoming a
so the website, getaheadba.com. It's got everything on there. As I said, I'm hugely active on LinkedIn, so look me up on there, drop me an email. I've also got a quiz that you can take part on, so that's on the website as well, which gives you a sense as to whether you feel your attributes would fit with what we're looking for. And always up for a discovery call and a chit chat. And also, if you wanted a copy of the book as well, either let Liz know or drop me an email and I can pop one in the post.
I'll arrange postage. Well, thank you so much, Rebecca. It's always so nice to
no, I loved it, Liz. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks to everybody that's watched. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.